is me, Choco Doll. Today we are going to be doing the Q&A that I promised you guys, and we have quite a few questions, really good questions. So let's get into it. Okay, we have quite a few questions, so let's get into it. This first question is by Pikawoko? I don't know. Pikawo. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but I didn't like the photo of it. It says, what is your all-time favorite thing that you've made? I'm actually wearing one of them. It's this little, it's a set. So it's a hair clip and a necklace, but I'm not wearing the necklace right now. That's one of my favorite things that I've ever made. It's one of the first things I've made with clay. I really love this. I wear this all the time and I get a lot of questions about it, and I do plan on remaking these very soon. Keep an eye out for that. And then another thing that I've made that I really like is this headdress. It was inspired by a Lolita headdress, but I'm not sure if that's what I can call it. It's a pink felt headband with brown felt bows and ribbons on it, and I think it's so cute. That's one of my favorite things I've made. Those are my top favorite things. And I also made another version of this one in the jam set. It's so instead of a chocolate filling, it has a red jam filling in it, and those are my favorite things that I've made for sure. This is abbyphil.mp4 asked, what or who is your biggest inspiration for your crafts and phone case? So I have a lot of inspirations, honestly. There's so many good Dagoten artists out there. I really love Memento, I think that's how you pronounce it. I follow them on Instagram because I see that they do still make decoten items. Really love Dulce Deco as well. I'm not sure if they came out with anything new, just because I haven't really came across anything, but I really love their decoten items. It's the best. And then I also really love brands like Cupa, Angelic Pretty, Baby Star Shine Bright. I feel like they all really cater to that sweet style, really nice, with their jewelries, with their clothing, and just anything in general. So that's things that I do take a lot of inspiration from, as well as actual food. Like I'll come across pictures like on Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and I'm sure you've seen them. They're like, there'll be shakes or actual cakes, cookies, like anything. I like to take a lot of inspiration from food since I'm replicating food, but specifically like sweet food. So yeah, that's a lot of my inspiration. Next question is from Chocoberry. How did you get into sweets deco? So I got into deco when I had just gave birth to my son. I was 3 months postpartum, and I just needed something to kind of bring myself back and, you know, have time for me. That's one thing that helped me get into decoten a lot, was to invest in that basically, and that's where my business came from. I mean, I never really imagined it to turn into a business, just because me and my friend, we just had like a deco date and we were doing it for fun. And like after I did that phone case, I was like, I think this is what I want to do. I want to sell phone cases. So from there I just started selling cases. But yeah, that's how I got into sweets deco. Petite Kuma, I said, I want to make my own deco phone case. What do you recommend for beginners? I would recommend getting clay, any kind of clay. I would say maybe start with air dry clay, just because it's cheaper and you can get more for more. So you'll get a pound of clay and it's literally like $5 or less. But I would recommend getting that. And if you have acrylic paint to color your clay, it's easier. You're gonna need cream, which you can get from anywhere. You can get from like Amazon, from AliExpress, from Etsy, any of those places. Maybe some pre-made charms as well that you can also purchase. You can purchase from Etsy, from Amazon, Temu, AliExpress. All those places sell charms, and they're really affordable too, obviously. So I would recommend that. Next question from Vakira Core. How do you come up with ideas? I always go to Pinterest. I always go to Pinterest too. I don't think there's anything wrong with Pinterest. I like to go on Pinterest and Red Note, or I don't know how to pronounce the actual name of it. I apologize, I have to call it Red Note. I also, like I mentioned before, like to look in my magazines. These really help me a lot, but I really do like Pinterest as well. And like I mentioned before, from food, actual food, like a little cupcake or something, I'm like, oh my god, that looks so cute, I wonder if I can try to recreate that. And yeah, so I feel like just like be open-minded, like you can find inspiration anywhere, but Pinterest is also a good place. I don't think there's anything wrong with Pinterest. Oh, and I also really like to get inspiration from like little ornament sets, or like little keychains, like the really cool keychains, or like different ornaments. There's so many things, like I said, that you can get inspiration from. Smelly Millies asked, what's your favorite thing to make? I really enjoy working with felt, but it's a little hard on my wrist because like the sewing and the cutting and all that. But I really like sewing and working with felt. I really want to get a sewing machine and learn how to make my own clothes. That's something I really like to do. That I really want to try to do. But yeah, I really like working with felt and fabric. I have some fabric, but I haven't made anything with it. I've made a couple of shirts. I'll put in photos here everywhere so you can see. But yeah, working with fabric is something else I really like to do as well. Joanna with the Q asked, how long does it usually take to make a cake? And Rhinestone Princess also asked that, how long does it usually take to make your items? It really depends. If I sit down and actually focus on it, I can probably knock out all the charms, I want to say, within 1 to 3 days, making the charms for a case completely. But usually it takes me about a week, just because I have a lot of orders as well to focus on. So it really just depends, but I want to say anywhere from like 3 days to a week, but more realistically it takes me about a week to complete a case, plus the drying time that takes longer as well. But yeah. And someone asked, Arlene, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing these names wrong, guys. Arlene, what is your decadent cream recipe? Okay, so I use air dry clay. I use the Petticoat white air dry clay. I don't have an exact measurement for each thing, I just kind of eyeball it, but I'll use air dry clay, glue, Mod Podge specifically, I have it somewhere over there, and a little bit of cornstarch, and obviously I'll add just a little bit of water to soften up the clay, and then I mix it. And to color the clay, I would recommend using acrylic clay, a little acrylic paint, because I noticed the oil paint doesn't really stick as well to it because of the water. But yeah, so that's what I use for my decadent clay, glue, cornstarch, and a little bit of water. I know before I was using silicone cream, but honestly, every time I would use it, it would give me a headache, and it smelled really bad, and I would literally have to wear a mask, like those like N95 mask, or not even that, it's like an actual mask to keep out like toxic smell, because silicone is toxic for you. And that's one thing too, I don't like using toxic stuff in general. So that's one thing I was like, why am I gonna be using this when that's like not me? But yeah, so I stopped using silicone because it smelled weird. I didn't really like the way that it dried, and I just didn't like it. But yeah, it's very popular and common to use silicone in the decadent community. Other artists that do make decadent cases, they do use silicone. And a lot of other YouTube videos, when I was doing my research, everybody uses silicone, which is fine, but I just did not really like it, and it was not my preference. And Jasmine asked, what materials do you use to make your deco phone cases? So I use polymer clay, I use my own decadent cream that I make. I also use fabric paint as the chocolate drizzle, and that's it. That's all I use to make my cases. It's like I said, it's a very simple and easy thing to do. You don't need too much tool wise, you know. But I think that's everything that I use. And sometimes I'll use like pre-made charms, but I have a hard time finding ones that I actually like. So most of the time, that's why I started making my own charms, because I didn't really find any that I liked, and a lot of them were more like modern decoden. So it mainly focused more on like certain characters and stuff like that. I don't know, I just didn't really like the way they looked, so that's why I decided to make my own clay, my own charms. Someone asked, what's your opinion on Hatsumiku? I don't know much of her, but I know she's really cute. I know she's like a little anime character. I see all her little figurines around all the time. Her blue hair is iconic, obviously. Yeah, but I really think she's cute. I have nothing bad to say against. I don't know much about her, so I can't say. But I think she's cute. And like I said, I'm using my iPad because I'm recording on my phone. So yeah. Okay, this question is from Mohammed Ko. Do you have another job in addition to Choco Doll? And she asked 2 questions. Tips on work-life balance. Thankfully, I do not have another job. Being a mom itself is another job. It's a lot of jobs. But no, I do not have a job at the moment. I'm a stay-at-home mom, thanks to my husband. He supports me and all of my hobbies. I love that man. Tips on work-life balance. I wish I can give you tips on work-life balance. Honestly, this is something that I'm still trying to figure out myself, which I have a hard time doing both, being a mom and trying to maintain my little business, because obviously, you know, it's hard. Being a mom is hard. I'm not gonna lie. Especially when they're young, you know, just because they're still growing. My son is very attached to me, because I'm with him all the time, but I'd rather him, you know, be with me than having to send him off to being taken care of somewhere else, and who knows what they're doing. Yeah, but I'm still trying to figure out work-life balance, because I work at night and I have a bad habit of staying up late, and in the morning when I wake up, sometimes I'm a little grumpy. So that's one thing I need to find a better work-life balance. So I wish I can give you tips. I think that I do struggle with, because there are times also I notice when I'm on my phone too much, when I'm with my son, and because I'm responding back to like a client, or I'm editing a video, or, you know, I'm doing something. And that's one thing too, like I said, that I really want to work on, is my work-life balance, as a mom and running a business. My partner tries to help me out as much as he can, you know, so I'm thankful for that. But yeah, that's one thing that I myself need to work on, is figuring out work-life balance, because I know it is hard. So if you guys have any tips on like any small business owners or anything like that, let me know, so other people can also know too. And 2 questions they're pretty similar, from Skip to Lola and Smelly Mellies. Asked fave deco magazines and where to get them from, and what are your fave deco magazines. So I got my magazines off of Bai. The magazines themselves were pretty cheap. They were under $5, but the shipping is kind of where they get you, depending on the tier of the shipping, like how you want it. I did the most cheapest shipping, and I think it was like maybe $10, like $12 to $10 for each magazine, and I got 4. Just keep that in mind. You know, the items themselves may be cheap, but the shipping, obviously, since it's coming from overseas, these are from Japan, obviously it's going to be priced a little bit more. But if you want to buy them and you have the money to splurge, why not? You know, they're really fun to look at. I feel like every time I look at them, I see something new, or I see something that I didn't see before. So I really do like looking at these magazines. My favorite ones, I would say would have to be these two. This one, it says lovely, so I'm assuming that's part of the name, and this one does not have any English in it at all. But yeah, these magazines, maybe if you want to like screenshot them and like find out the names or something, but these magazines are my two top favorite ones. I just feel like the craftsmanships of the charms look a little bit better here, and they just look more neater, so that's my favorite. These ones, they don't look too bad, you know. They're like, the charms, you can tell they look more like actual clay rather than the other ones. I feel like they kind of look a little bit more realistic. But yeah, they all essentially have the same thing, you know. They show you what to use, but like, do you see here kind of what I mean? Like, the clay looks more like actual clay. The work or the craftsmanships are better in these ones than the other ones. I just like the way, the overall look of the other two than these two, but they're still both really good. They both give like a lot of great ideas and stuff like that, so I really do like all of them. Next question: what type of shows do you watch or have watched? Right now I'm not really watching anything that I can think of. Just like, we're watching some old shows, but nothing really good. And in the past, we're watching like Bleach, and because I knew they came out recently with the new season, and I'm not sure if it's still airing or not, but I haven't finished it. And then that's really all I can think of. I haven't really been watching anything new, honestly. I just watch a lot of YouTube because I feel like there's not much new. If you have any recommendations for any TV shows, you can just let me know. What first inspired you to get into it? Decoden, I'm assuming. I decorate cakes and do henna, so Decoden has always looked so fun, but seems so scary. Like I've mentioned before, I have a lot of hobbies. I really like starting new hobbies and just doing hobbies in general. It's something that I've always really loved doing. I have a lot of hobbies, so if I see a hobby that I want to try, or something that looks interesting, and I'm really determined to do it, I will do it. Like I said, one day I just bought all the supplies that I needed to do Decoden, and from there, I've never been hesitant to start a new hobby. One thing though, I do have a bad habit of when I'm starting a new hobby, like, I like to buy everything and anything possible, which is kind of bad because then I have like a bunch of like craft items lying around, which I have a lot. It's just crazy. So that's one thing. But I'd say if you want to start a new hobby, just do it. Like, you know, whether you're good or bad at it, obviously over time you'll get better. But it's fun. I don't know, I like having hobbies, like taking pictures. I also used to like to paint a lot when I was younger in high school, and writing poetry as well. That was one thing that I really enjoyed doing. A hobby that I want to get back into is journaling, just because I feel like that's something that always helps me feel more centered. But yeah, I recently bought a new notebook. I just got this yesterday, but I was like decorating it, and that's like, it's just fun, like just starting new hobbies, like just doing things, like just go for it, you know. I would say don't be scared. It's nothing to be scared of, you know. If you know how to decorate cakes and do henna, it's literally like that. It's exactly the same thing, like decorating cakes. You know how to pipe already. The charms, obviously, I'm pretty sure it's like the same thing as making like fondue or fondue, whatever it's called. So I would say just try it, you know. And if not, and if you don't like it, then that's okay. You can always save it for later, or maybe figure out what else to do with those supplies. So yeah, I've been wanting to try Decoden. I say do it. It never hurts, you know. So just do it. Don't be scared. It's not gonna bite you or nothing. Just do it. Next question: how did you start doing Decoden? I already answered this question before. Like I said, I just decided to do it one day. postpartum, if you're a mom, and you know, postpartum is a little hard, so that's one thing that really pushed me to do it. I needed some time for myself, so that's one thing that really motivated me to do Dekoden is a new hobby. You know, I was crocheting before, I was reading books in my postpartum, but I felt like I needed something a little bit more hands-on, something that I can like step away from the room, from my room, you know, from my little space, and like come out and have my own space for myself. So that was one thing. It's just I wanted to focus to get myself back more, to feel more like myself. So that was why I started to Dekoden. Okay, what's your favorite part of doing a Dekoden phone case? I think my favorite part is probably putting everything together in the end. So when I'm actually like piping and putting the charms on, I think that's my favorite part, because that's when you can actually see everything come together, and like you kind of just like lose yourself, or I lose myself when I'm doing that, because in my mind I'll have like a certain setup of how I want the charms to look on the case, but then like once I start, like the case comes out completely different and even better than what I had planned. So I think that's the fun part, is like putting the cabochons on the case and whipping out the cream and decorating the little cabochons. I think that's the fun part of Dekoden for me, and even making the charms too, but I really like decorating the phone case itself. That's the fun part. Will you do other character cookies like Tamagotchi ones? I actually just did one. Oh, I actually still have the case. Let me see. It's still drying, so I'm gonna be careful, but I just did this case. But this is a DS case. It came out so cute. I love the way it turned out with the little Tamagotchi cookies. She requested these, and I thought they were so cute. Yeah, she requested like a fruit theme, biscuit theme, so I decided to add in all of these are charms that I made, obviously, besides like the little blueberries and the little oranges and this, but everything else is all handmade. So cute. And so, okay, next question. What helps you when you feel like giving up? I have felt like giving up a lot of times when I feel overwhelmed. I think what helps me is to take a break. You know, like step away from whatever it is that you're doing and try something else, like get back into an old hobby or something, or go outside. But that's something that always helps me, and like step away from my phone too. Go outside, take a walk, go to the park, read a book, just anything else that will take your mind away from your business or your hobbies or something that you do, you know. And that's something that always helps me.